when we were 15. When we were 15, I remember car rides, all fights, conversations all night. I never saw you as anything more than a friend, but now I see you in a new light. We're getting older, there's a sparkle in your eyes that wasn't there before. You give me butterflies, it makes me wonder if there could be something more. We were only kids when we first met. Now let's discover what we haven't yet. I don't wanna wonder what could have been. So baby, take my hand and let my love in. When we were 15, I remember car rides, conversations all night. When we were 15.
Welcome one and all to another amazing night here in Tranquility.
We absolutely are in for a treat of a match here tonight, no question about it.
And the grenades from Pomku eliminate everybody on the field.
Now I'm between something as well. It's going to be a fly stab and death block them, and it's going to be huge. Fighting three.
The double kill with the Bastion ulti? Alright, I see you guys.
For B-Well, look to find a stick there, finds the stick, they find two with it!
Those who find the picks will save the fight, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
And Cam with the four-man punch off the map!
Experience tranquility.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Tranquility. It's me, McMissile. This is Karma. We're gonna be casting tonight's game. It's gonna be Avalon versus Phoenix. Karma, what's how's it hanging?
It's doing good. Of course, today is Thursday. It is Discord tier, if my memory serves me correctly. We've got 2 5-2 teams, Avalon versus Phoenix. Both have a pretty positive map differential, Avalon having +8, Phoenix having +5. And of course, more than all, in my opinion, as you can see, I'm wearing my good old-fashioned BJ Raji jersey. It is the NFL draft tonight, so I'll be talking about that if people care about sports. I know I have my own sports podcast, which I just came from an NFL draft special, which we were doing. So I'm here, excited to cast some Overwatch and hopefully try to throw in some sports terms as well and have some fun with it.
Sounds baller. That's a basketball one. But for this match, to try and get some precedents out of the way really quick. Phoenix just came off a 3-2 win against Loki last week. Avalon a 2-3 loss against Reminiscence last week. Both went to map 5, so that's something to show. Especially, and now they're both even, so it's gonna be kind of a big make or break. And as for the predictions, it looks like it looks like a 4-0 in the for the side of Avalon, for nerfed. And then Private Ryan doing a 3-1 for Avalon. Dexatron saying a map 5 banger for the side of Phoenix. What kind of crack you lacking for these lineups?
I think, in my opinion, looking at the analytics, which is basically me looking at a Google Sheets chart for about 30 minutes, I think it's going to be very interesting. I think both these teams are very sort of complicating with each other. Of course, like you said, they both came from map 5 loss, map 5 win. I think in the end of the day, I think this could go map 5. Of course, we are starting with the beloved Oasis, in my opinion. Sort of gets a little bit of bad rep every once in a while, but it's always fun to play. I think we get a map 5 here. I think especially with these two teams getting ready to fight for some playoff action, which is starting next week as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be intense heading into these playoffs because they're again, both these teams are hard stuck even 5-2. Oasis is just the map to really get a good feel for each other. It's each map is such a jungle, and I feel like what kind of moving on from the couple games that Oasis has been played on. What do you think the kind of compositions here? Oh well, I don't even have to ask. Look at this. Look at this.
Yep. And I believe we're starting on, is this Gardens? This is Gardens, so this has the platform. Going to both, like, sort of different styles of brawl. Of course, Avalon going with the standard Sim May, just trying to take that space and hold it, whereas Phoenix is going for this sort of new one with Ramatra, just trying to run down the back line completely, especially with the new Ramatra speed boost whenever they're in shift, or Nemesis form as it's called, plus Feather on the Lucio. I think they're going to try to get there first, but with the Sim TP, they could try to get it from main and try to just TP onto the actual platform itself.
Yeah, I think they're both doing an absolute 100 radio dash to that high ground. It looks like Avalon's going to reach it first. Does a lot of pressure onto Phoenix, already forcing out Immortality Field, already forcing out 3 players. Colossus with a 3K to start this off, and Zasper finishing it off with 2. That was the quickest team kill I've seen in my life.
Yeah, it was basically 2 swings that are out of there. Colossus with getting over 50% basically right now. And now Phoenix, they're swapping it up. They switch Feather over to the Zenyatta, try to get that Discord probably onto Colossus itself, especially with how sort of pokey their comp is, having that Ashe, having that Cassidy, being able to sort of dash at it from long range. Whereas on the side of Avalon, they need to have that, they need to close that distance very fast, especially with that Sim TP they could try to TP on. But even then, that takes a lot of coordination.
Yeah, Avalon running super brawl here, and they're opting to go for this high ground, which is a little bit of a quirk here. Phoenix having all this range. Looks like Avalon just keeping them off the point completely, buying time, being comfortable, being patient. Looks like Dolphinica is kind of using the geometry to their advantage, and it's totally throwing Phoenix for loops on days. The Ashe or the Cassie, Sips and Vic can't even find a good opening here. It's super difficult. Now another wall comes out, and Colossus, the pressure is on. The ultimates are on. Online, but Colossus doesn't even need to use it, and now the aggression is pressed even further. That was really well played from Avalon right there.
Yeah, Avalon being able to hold that space very much, so using that May wall to just cut off, especially the second that Max decides, you know what, I'm going to tip my toes into the point. Nah, you're not. You're getting walled off, and now Avalon has basically almost every single ultimate besides the Lucio beat, which, of course, in this comp, you're going to sort of build it a lot slower because you're not the main damage point. You're just there to be like, hey, speed, boost, and just run away or run towards the enemy team. Whereas on the side of Phoenix, they don't really have anything. They're close to window, which could be sort of big, especially if they're able to get at this fight. But that's about it. You do have Bob, which is the best AI on the team, but even then, not really much that can turn a fight.
Yeah, don't ever doubt my boy Bob. Bob can do some crazy stuff, and it'll have to be crazy considering it's 80% and Avalon have 5 ultimates. Bob is on the field. It's a 6v5. That's going to be some good advantages here. Oh, fantastic block coming out from Max. And the rebound as well. The beat coming out, but looks like the pick is going to come out. Dolphinicus knocks out the Ashe. That's going to be kind of crucial here. CSP out of the fight. Vic, I mean, maybe can alleviate that pressure, but holy smokes, dude. Avalon completely made that choke point right there, and Phoenix couldn't even find like a way around it. It seemed that kind of blows my mind here.
Yeah, I'm surprised that, especially with them having the Ashe/Cassidy, where you could sort of have those long angles, I'm surprised that they didn't decide, like, you know what, you guys go for Light's little off angle in main. We're gonna try to fight through hookah on our side, try to get that sort of rotation around, try to draw attention to them. But even then, you can't really rotate all that much, especially dropping the Lucio right away after basically first fight. But yeah, it just seemed like a dominant fight from Avalon, and now we see some people switching. They see the team switching it up. Avalon going to Zasper's, switching over to the Cassidy now. especially with that higher platform, you're gonna have a lot more damage. And Phoenix swapping over to the sort of dive monkey comp, sort of with the Winston, Genji, and Reaper itself. Plus the Ana.
Yeah, they're gonna go for something a bit more mobile than last round. You know, they were a bit more stable. Maybe that's why they got caught out. You know, real tough, making fantastic use of the sim and also the Mei walls earlier. But now, you know, Phoenix a little bit quicker on their feet, quicker on their toes, but still, ooh, caught out by a turret. The beast is out. Now Feather the only healer. That's not really gonna be necessarily enough healing from that poor Lucio, as Zasper picks up 2 right there. Max gonna be falling later, and now Dolphinicus with 2 of their own too. Avalon DPS looking kind of dangerous here.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it looked like they wanted to play that the Rhine comp to start off with, and they decided at the last second to switch to the Winston comp. Which, in my opinion, you want to play that high ground for, especially you want to get your Ana, your Lucio, and your basically your Cassidy, your core of that roster, the core of that team, onto the high ground. But instead, they decided to go streets, which is where the Rhine wants to play. They want to play in that enclosed area, and now switching over to that Rhine with the Mei. I think they sort of have a better shot, especially if they're able to get that the Rhine walled off completely.
Yeah, they really want to opt in some control here. A lot of these fights, control have gone the way of Avalon. Class is such a presence on the front line. Now it's going to be a bit of a 4v3 scenario here. Not necessarily out of it just yet, but after a nice little charge, you know, I think the synergy from Dolphinicus and Colossus, as well as the Lost Sauce on the speed, I think it's just so much fluidity. Phoenix are having trouble keeping up with it.
Yeah, it really is, especially with having a Symmetra on your team. There's sort of multiple ways that you can play with it, especially on Lijiang Garden. That's one of the ways that you see it a lot. You just see it sort of TP up into the window. But the best way to play it around is you just play with your TP. You bait them in, you bait them out, you sort of bait it so no matter what, as Feather immediately dies to a window fire strike, and they're just going into Max, trying to keep him alive, and Colossus gets another one. But at the end of the day, it's just Colossus being Colossal himself. But yeah, this just seems like it's all Avalon. It's not fair anymore. They have 4 ultimates up basically, whereas Phoenix is just now getting the shatter from Max and plus the amplification matrix, whereas Feather was the only one that hasn't switched yet, and they're only 84 to their own beat. Like, come on.
If Phoenix don't have something to say, I'm gonna say it for him. And what I have to say is they're looking like shadows of the Colossus right now. That's a game reference, but this game is Overwatch, and holy smokes, the shields are out. This choke point is still a pretty big threat, but it looks like the pressure is on. A fantastic window from the Beast lands back, a nice little pick on a Dolphinicus, one of the key win conditions. Oh goodness gracious, that's a classic Niner.
That's a classic Niner. Phoenix didn't touch. They had some ultimates, but they were wasted. They decided, you know what, we're going to sit back and we're going to use the window, which in theory is a good time. Of course, window doubles your damage, especially with fire strike. You want to try to get a window fire strike, but at the same time, sometimes you need to walk past it, especially if it does double damage. It also does double healing with the Baptiste balls. I can't remember what they're called. The healing grenades. Thank you for my own brain deciding to think. But at the end of the day, you need to walk past it at some point. And I feel like Max was sort of playing a lot passive, especially since he realized he was getting melted completely since round 1.
Yeah, that was so tough, because in the end it looked like Phoenix totally had it together. They're like, all right, we window at the choke point. Now the choke point is in our territory. We can totally lay in all the pressure. They got to pick off on a Dolphinicus. I think heading to the next maps, when we see maybe less Symmetra, maybe then we'll see more of oh, anyone can have control. But so far, how do you think Avalon really nailed that control? Because in those later moments, you know, we saw Phoenix flipping over to the Mei, and we saw the walls come out, but it still looked like they were kind of funneled.
Yeah, it's Avalon just sort of, I feel like they mastered that sort of brawl style. You have the Mei, you have multiple different styles of it. It's not just one big brawl. It's sort of under a whole umbrella. I know with goats that was sort of a big thing too, where you had the Zen goats, Moira goats, and Ana goats. But I have to bring it back a little bit. Every once in a while you have to bring it back. But at the end of the day, it's sort of the same thing as with brawl. You have the Cassidy brawl, which is a lot more poke, a lot more damage, and you have the Mei brawl, which is a lot more about gaining that space, holding it for as long as you can, maybe trying to get a wall off, and just running at him with 5 people. So being able to master both those sort of styles is very interesting for the side of Avalon, and Phoenix just didn't seem to have an answer for it. Of course, they could have made some swaps. I think I really like that monkey comp that came out, but of course they swapped right away, and they weren't able to hold it for as long as they could. I feel like if they decided to take, again, like I said right away, if they were to take that high ground instead of just going straight to the streets and try to fight it like it was a brawl style, I think they would have had a better shot. But at the end of the day, it's hindsight's always 2020. You can always look back and be like, hey, we could have done this better, but at the end of the day, you didn't do it, so you lost.
Yeah, and in the moment, yeah, like it totally could look like, oh, if they're just gonna be in a choke point, that's a 50-50. That's our choke point too, and I think that's where the kind of mindset kind of came in, where it's like, oh, we can just diff them off, we can just out damage them. Yeah, as you said, Avalon looking pretty dangerous on that brawl. It's gonna be interesting to see in the next maps how that really continues to play out, if it does continue to play out. Considering the next map, I believe the game mode is always a hybrid. Is that correct?
Yes, and I believe it is
Genius.
Eichenwald. So
Sweet.
that's very interesting. I feel like Eichenwald is one of those maps where it's very both brawl and dive heavy. Of course, you get second point where you go through the big castle and you go through that sort of high ground, especially if you get stopped on attack. It's very difficult to go through. But if you're Avalon and you've been playing with that Symmetra, like I already saw, there's a lot of different ways that you can break that. You can go straight to the high ground. You can cross into the castle. You can go to the other high ground. You can do all that stuff. And with Phoenix, if they're on defense first and they're able to play that Winston comp that we saw to start off with on second point on City Center of Oasis, and they're able to sort of bring that to fruition, I think they could do really good with it. But it's all about who's able to make the first punch. I feel like that's sort of the biggest thing. And if Phoenix is able to do it, I think they could take map 2. If not, then I feel like it's almost going to a 3-0, it seems like.
Words never been truer, especially on Eichenwald. It really is just a boxing ring. Whoever lands that first punch has so much like opportunity. And I think with this map too, you'll have a lot of opportunity of whatever kind of comp you want to run. We could, as you mentioned before, that castle is so unique, and like we've seen Pharah's come out, we've seen Maze come out, and I mean, like, you could even run something up Winston, which is a direct 180 from a lot of the time how this first point goes, which we usually, I was gonna say we usually see a lot of Reinhardts, some Zaryas, but in this case scenario, we're gonna be getting Ramatra.
Yeah, which, like I said before, Ramatra's I feel like Ramatra's just a better sort of Reinhardt, whereas instead of managing like ability style, like you have to manage your shield, you have to manage all this, you have to manage your health. With Ramatra, you just have to manage cooldowns. Like, you have like that sort of timer already where it's like, hey, it's a lot easier to Reinhardt. But looking at Phoenix's comp, I really like it with the Pharah Mercy, trying to get that sort of spam in with the Hanzo as well. I actually really like that, especially trying to break this first hold with, I don't think they know that Dolphin has the Symmetra, but even then being able to see it, I think they obviously do now because they see the turrets, but being able to just do it and just spam it from far away with the Pharah, I think it's going to be very good to easily break this sort of hold that Avalon has.
Yeah, and I mean, the Zibdill's going to be kind of on a lot of pressure considering Dolphinicus is on that Symmetra, and, you know, we've seen a little bit of a Pharah Mercy action from the side of Phoenix, as well as Vix's Hanzo, which, you know, maybe a bit of a longer range than Zibdill, but we'll just have to see how that kind of plays out. Looks like it's going to be kind of a little pokey kind of fest. Looks like does get out that shield from Colossus, which is a big kind of factor if you do want to eventually push in, but looks like Phoenix really just kind of testing the waters here. Oh, you know what? They might have actually just been baiting out for that TP because, you know, Dolphinicus has been so prominent on it, but it looks like it is still going to be a kind of 5v5 scenario. Oh, well, until I say that, Colossus knocks out the Pharah, Lost Sauce boops out Vic, and that's going to be a reset.
Yeah, like I said before, I like the Pharah. But please don't bring the Pharah into a little room where Colossus can just go Nemesis mode and punch you. You got to be playing above that sort of highline, as, of course, the Pharah's CFP switches over to the Ashe, of course, as I'm talking about it. But at the same time, you got to play far away. You got to have that spam damage. And really, they only really had a BAP and a Cassidy, which can't really touch you from very far, especially if you do have that Mercy. So it's sort of interesting to see them swap as they come up with multiple outs here for the side of Phoenix, trying to be able to hold this push.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, he's still got a lot of range, but oh my goodness, Zibdall again kind of outranges the kind of deal. And I think you're able to do that because Colossus just plays so aggressively. Doesn't necessarily get a lot of first pick, so to say. Well, other than, you know, the first fight, but like just the fact that he's there, I think just grants so much like vision and prowess for the rest of Avalon. And oh man, a late stagger as well. Yeah, Phoenix is gonna be switching over to a Tracer from the side of Vic. I think they really just want to get past this choke point.
Yeah, and it's rough too, especially since the side of Phoenix uses both their support ults. Feather uses Valk really late, and the Beast started with the Amplification Matrix, but now you just have to try to touch the point with Vic and maybe try to drag some people back, which it looks like it might be happening, but even then it's going to be rough for the side of Phoenix trying to be able to get this point.
Yeah, a couple ultimates out, the barrier, the window, and that's 2 picks. Zasper finds a nice little Baptiste differential, and the rest of the team just kind of follows up. But I mean, with that, it was a pretty costly fight, I'd say. But for Phoenix, you're just looking at just trying to really build ultimates here. Zibdil has High Noon, but I mean, the time for me right now is 8:19, so I mean, maybe it's winnable for Phoenix, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I think Avalon using a lot of resources there, maybe Phoenix's chance to really win this, get to touch point at least.
Yeah, and especially like you said, Zibdil does have the High Noon, try to bait some people back, especially because even though Noon isn't really that good of an ultimate, you can still hold people back for very long, for at least almost 10 seconds. And now it's basically like, it's almost like last fight territory, only having a minute left on the side of Phoenix being able to try to touch the point.
Ooh, Bob trying to get the job done. A nice stick. Finds two. That's it. First try. I never doubted this team to begin with. I was stressless. Didn't even piss my pants. That was fantastic from Phoenix. And I mean, you use both DPS ults, but you still have the tempo ult. The Max's Max. I don't Annihilation. Okay, yeah.
It's called Annihilation. It is very weird.
Yeah, and it can annihilate, so I think that's going to be a really big factor, especially considering you have the window from the Beast. The fight is definitely in your control, considering you have this payload, finally, and you've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, not to mention, too, Vic got that false one very fast, and Colossus is just trying to fight in, apparently. Everybody's just going in completely. Beast uses the window, Feather Draw almost dies completely, but Beast comes out from the side of Lost Sauce, trying to be able to hold this early fight. I think they were trying to get an early fight before the doors are open, but even then, it looks like it's going to be turning points to the side of Avalon being able to hold it as Max off the Annihilation.
It's going to be a tank war right here. Look at them sizing each other up. Zibdil tries to add in on the front, but that's just a tank. That's just tank. That's just how tank goes. But now it's going to be, you know, Feather popping the Valkyrie, trying to get any HP value, considering the support from Avalon is just insane. Casper hasn't even popped the window yet, and the pressure from Dolphinicus. The gates, Avalon pressed up to gates specifically to play around the Symmetra even better, and it's worked out so good that Vic is knocked out of the fight with a grenade. Any off angles that were trying to be got by the side of Phoenix was just denied by Zibdil. The synergy from Avalon is ludicrous, and now they're pressing they spawn, and that's just a tough look.
Yeah, Zibdil, I think, got 4 there, or 3 or 4. But
Something
yeah,
like that.
it's just, especially with them getting that early fight, not sort of playing all that passive and being able to get it around the corner, this is sort of one of the more underrated points, I feel like, in my opinion, especially if you are able to hold it like right there, right at the gate. They can't really get that far unless you see it. Whereas, like, if you get it around that corner, it's a lot easier to, in my opinion, to sort of maybe fight a bit as Zaspers pops the window and definitely deletes Feather. But at the end of the day, it just looks like it's Avalon 24/7.
Bob, my boy. F's in chat. R.I.P. Zasper, yeah, picking up basically 2 that fight. 3. Now that I say something about it. Now Dolphinicus ulting in, they spawn. Colossus just let all the gas off the brakes. Just going at it. Ults. Touch a spawn door. Lost Sauce finds a nice little boop. That's just that might be a little salt in your soup right there. But I mean, you're not out of this just yet. You have another window and you have another Annihilation. The only ultimate Avalon have is Lost Sauce's beat, and I say that the advantage is definitely had for Phoenix right here.
Yeah, it's had for Phoenix, but at the same time, Avalon does still have this corner. They do have the amplification matrix. Oh wait, no, that's Phoenix. My bad. I'm looking at the wrong side. Zibdil does have the High Noon, as Zibdil finds the beast immediately as soon as the amplification matrix is popped. So don't even drop them off. Dolphinicus finds one more going into their backline, but at the same time, Feather's trying to keep them up, but they can't lose here. Jasper finds one. They have to regroup one last time, and this is last fight territory. Feather and Max have the Annihilation, have the Kitsune Rush, whereas Avalon has the beat. So they're able to stay alive. Zasper could get the amplification matrix on, and Zibdil has the High Noon, so they're going to pop some far away.
Yeah, they have so much control on the second flank and the castle, the high ground. There's the High Noon, a fantastic beat to assist with it. Now the Annihilation looking like a demolition. 2 picks gone. Feather falling to a turret, and now you know, oh my goodness gracious, Phoenix just getting. I think Dolphinicus. I mean, maybe not necessarily getting tons of picks, you know, just blatantly, but getting so much value. Vic, super hard to like try and find an off angle. Sis as having to swap to the Reaper and still not really being able to synergize with Max, as well as Colossus is synergizing so with Zasper. Feather even on the Kiriko really didn't get a chance to shine with that Kitsune Rush. This is looking a bit rough, I may dare say, but I mean, now you're on the defense side. The Avalon seemed to just prefer that defense.
Yeah, and like you said too, Dolphin decided, like, even though they weren't really on the kill feed all that much, which they were, in my opinion. They were on it a lot.
That's
But it was mainly because of the turrets. The turrets were providing so much pressure, and they just weren't being broken. It was just one of those things where it's like, even though I'm not in the kill feed, I'm not taking those final blows. I'm taking that. Most of these people are already at half HP, maybe even 3/4 HP before they even start the fight because of my turrets, and they're not getting broken right away. You have to walk through and be able to get them. And at the end of the time, Dolphinicus is going back to the sim. If it's not broke, don't fix it, basically. Whereas Phoenix is trying to switch up their comp, going back to that sort of Winston comp that they had on City Center of Oasis. Hopefully they hold it better. Of course, Feather is on the Brig. So Brig did get the buff. Wide Brig now, of course, being able to get a stun. Which I feel like it still needs a buff, in my opinion.
I think the
As a
shield needs to
support
be
player.
bigger.
No, the shield doesn't need to be bigger. But no, what I was talking with my buddies about this, and I feel like once you pop it, you should get your shield bash right away. If you just use it, I feel like that would
Oh,
make
like a
it a lot.
Genji cooldown?
Yeah, like again, like the dash, where as soon as you pop it, you get that bash right away. I feel like it will feel a lot better. But at the end of the day, Avalon just going back to the same old, going to the Ramatra comp, and Phoenix switching it up to the Monkey comp, trying to be able to hold this bridge right away. Whereas I feel like Avalon is just going to try to TP right through.
Yeah, I think they may be kind of expecting that, considering this is why we're running this kind of Winston brawl on the defense of Icon Wild on this first point. Maybe it wouldn't necessarily be seen a lot or very popular, but it's definitely fitted just to try and counter Avalon here, which is definitely what you want to be doing if you want to try and get some picks going your way. The Beast dunks one onto Dolphin right there, and now the pressure is kind of on. The win condition is out of the fight. And I know it may seem like Colossus or Residual a lot of the time is the win condition, and maybe they are, but maybe they're also an illusion, as the rest of the fight definitely goes Phoenix's way in a lot. We don't necessarily say that too often yet.
Yeah, no, but this is actually a really good way of holding this sort of point. Of course, having Max on the high ground, you have the Beast just sort of chucking a nade in, and as soon as it lands, you've got Max dropping right away onto somebody, and they're just sort of poking, trying to get the nano up, which is sitting at 60% right now. We'll probably get it within maybe this fight, maybe even probably definitely this fight now, seeing the amount of damage that Max just took right there.
Yeah, and now the TP on the point. That is going to catch Feather off guard, but you are coming up on an ultimate charge pretty fast here. The Beast coming up 80 on a nano, but maybe not in time, as the rest of the follow through is there for Avalon. Oh man, that was a really good TP, but there was a chance. There was that fleeting kind of like, oh, maybe Phoenix are going to rebound that, but no, they were really good off angle, and the rest of the pressure is on. No ultimates for either side yet, but now after that fight, it's going to be looking a little scary for this defense here.
Yeah, Phoenix is able to hold. Oh, some of them got far spawns, so that's going to be rough for the side of Phoenix. They're going to basically need to fight this almost immediately. As soon as these doors open, they can't even fight it before the doors open, which would be a huge advantage for them. But now they don't have really any ultimates. They do have the nano, which is probably going to go into Max, but at the end of the day, this is one fight territory. If they lose this, game's over, and it's going 2-0 to the side of Avalon.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend C9ing this one. And it looks like, yeah, a nano monkey on the point. A big nade, Phoenix 3 at that, both the supports. Immortality field forced out, and the pressure is on. Another clean kind of dive coming out from Phoenix, but it looks like, maybe some poison in the water. Maybe someone dropped a number 2 pencil right there, as it'll be Avalon coming out on top after that. A really good rebound from the supports of Avalon. They totally got dunked on. It totally looked like it was gonna go Phoenix's way with the nade, the jumps, and the Genji and the Reaper on the front line. But Avalon turning that around with, I mean, they had the carts, so maybe that kind of point presence. But I think Zasper gotta hand it to him a little bit there.
Yeah, as we see Vic got play of the game with their massive pulse bomb, being able to cap first point, basically off the back of this. But at the end of the day, of course, Avalon is now up 2-0 to Phoenix. But I feel like with that point too, Max was 2% off getting Primal. They were about 3% off getting Blade before they died. If Max plays a little bit safe there, doesn't go too far for the Baptiste, doesn't go too far, they're able to turn it, because then you immediately pop it. You get 1,000 HP as Monkey. Your Ana stays on the high ground, just basically pocketing you. You need to play a little bit safer there. You got to realize, hey, we can't go this far. Their spawn is right around the corner. If you die there, you're basically throwing it away. I feel like if they played a little bit safer, they could have had both those ultimates come up at the same time. You could have popped them both, probably just popped Primal. I don't think you really wanted to pop Blade there all by itself. But at the same time, it's like, you just got to play a little bit safer. A little bit safer, and I think they could have turned it. But at the end of the day, again, hindsight's 2020, and now it's 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely right, and I think they're giving them some time to really reflect. Maybe they got too caught up in the moment. They were like, oh god, a high HP laser, it's the Colossus, all those things in the middle of the fight that everyone totally thinks about. And you say hindsight 2020, but I mean, heading into this halftime, I think we're gonna get some hindsight 40-40, considering we're gonna have a little bit of a show.
Yep.
Maybe it didn't. Well, maybe it's not ready yet, so maybe I just scared everybody in half. But so far, I think Avalon looking very strong. But I think kind of doing the same trick twice and getting 2 wins off of it. Kind of playing around with Symmetra. And I think on Eichenwald, I think that map does also favor Symmetra a bit more, similar to Oasis. And I may be sounding like I'm trying to make excuses out for days, but I think Phoenix, after some time to really reflect, I think heading into the next kind of just a pure escort, I think they've got a fighting chance.
Yeah, and especially because I think we will be talking about the Symmetra comp in the halftime, as they are now officially ready. We're ready to we're ready to ship it off. I feel like, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna make like a sim TV. We'll be right back, but we do have something special for you guys right around the corner.
When we were 15, I remember car rides, small fights, conversations all night. I never saw you as anything more than a friend, but now I see you in a new light. We're getting old.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Tranquility halftime show for our Discord tier match of the week. First, before we get back to the action and break down what happened in the first half of that great match, we're going to go over some scores from the rest of Discord tier Tranquility today. So today, so far, we have Redacted down 2 maps, 0-2 to Pukin Dogs. We have Beat Drop Bears and MI7 in a close game, 1 map apiece. And then we have Paradise Lost versus Cosmic Castaways also going the distance, 1 map apiece. Trig and Space Created is going to be our third and final match, where both teams currently have 1 map. And then we have Catboys versus Pride going 1-0 in the way of Catboys. And then UV Rays versus Arrow with 2 maps towards UV Rays. Tempest is up 2-1 on Adrenalines right now. So now let's get back into the action. Let's talk about, let's break down that match. So we had a pretty dominant performance from Avalon coming out swinging from the first 2 maps. We had a couple of close fights that we'll break down in a few minutes here. But really, it's just been kind of the Avalon show. You know?
I've really liked Avalon's play a lot. And honestly, I think I want to highlight a couple players here right now from Avalon. And my pick that I chose to highlight right now was Zasper. This guy has been really good. He was on Avalon last season. I saw him perform a lot of plays. He was one of the, I think, main players on that team from last season that carried over into this season. And him being able to flex from the flex support to the Mei, we saw the first map, and then absolutely dominate on both. Honestly, really surprising performance. I really like their gameplay, and I think they're a great player.
It feels like right now, Avalon are playing at a tempo that they just can't adapt to. Phoenix are not ready for it. And I think that is up to 2 players, them being Lost Sauce and Dolphinicus. Dolphinicus is putting perfect sim TPs everywhere. It just playing super fast, way too fast for Phoenix to handle. And Lost Sauce also. I think this guy is the best Lucio in the tier, at least like top 2 or 3. Extremely good play. This feels like perfect positioning, perfect boxing, just everything you want to have a Lucio player.
Yeah, I think definitely for me, the biggest gap between these 2 teams right now is it just feels like Avalon is really setting the tempo and is super confident in everything they want to do, as we saw with all of the sim TPs, and they're just getting to places first, and it feels like every single fight that Phoenix just has to hard respond and try to make up for them either being out of position or just being slow to whatever Avalon is trying to do. So I guess, unless you guys have anything else to say, we can get into the map here. Anything else to say?
No, let's jump right in.
All right, so we're going to go into the map, and we're going to go ahead and look at the defense of Phoenix as Avalon attacks here. And this was one of the best moments that we had for Phoenix throughout this whole series thus far. However, we're going to see what really creates this difference that we've seen so far that makes Avalon so dominant. So we'll go ahead and play the map here. So I'm going to go ahead and slow it down. So you'll immediately see the biggest difference between this map and what else we've seen from Phoenix is that the players are ready to go. So instead of being so passive and kind of waiting for Avalon to push forward and get the sim TP off for free, we see, of course, we already have this nice core that's already in position, and we have the on and A that's able to hit the antis right on this core here, which just creates such a nice opening as Avalon rotates through this open space. So, of course, that gives Phoenix a great opportunity to go ahead and push this advantage, and it kind of prevents Dolphinicus from playing really fast with the sim TP.
See, Dolphinicus tries to take the Sin TP, get the rest of the team out, but it seems like they're not going to follow. So it kind of leaves a big gap in this because they're going to be fighting 4v5 on the front line. And Dolphinicus is just kind of stranded in the back line. They're not being able to do anything.
Yeah,
I mean, big rift.
And yeah, I mean, that sleep dart perfect onto their ram makes it extremely hard to follow up on Dolphinicus there. And it just leaves them in a like 2v1. So far on this map, their Ana is making all the plays for his team. Very, very impressive. Massive tie early, even though they didn't capitalize on it. And also sleeping the ram to isolate Dolphinicus and make it very easy to follow up on them.
Yeah, I definitely think the Beast has looked like one of the best players from Phoenix. We saw a pretty consistent Baptiste play, not really getting caught too much. They had a couple of missteps, but I think overall their lamps and their shift usage was really good. And then just like you pointed out here, they're creating openings that's actually allowing their team to win the fight by hitting some pretty hard skill shots right when they need to be there. So one thing I'm kind of wondering is, was this a miscommunication, or is Dolphinicus going there to create this pressure on the support so that the front line can push and force out this front line? Because normally they've been so on top of it with these sim TPs, but this one just felt like no one was really ready to go through it. Maybe they were scared of the Reaper or maybe another anti-nade. So we'll see what happens here. Yeah, so you'll see Dolphinicus tries to get out, but already was antied by the time they made it back through the TP. It's just easy cleanup for the Genji, of course, giving a dash reset and then able to go straight back onto the Cassidy and able to clean up the fight pretty easily.
Yeah, and this fight is completely won by the Ana for it's just per really strong playmaking, as we saw. It's just, I think this team looks best when they're on the Ana comp and letting the Beast do a lot of playmaking.
Definitely.
Really solid.
Yeah, I think as we've been looking through Overwatch 2 meta, just in general, Ana's been a great pick for teams that have a support carry. That maybe some teams that have a DPS carry will play a Kiriko, so they can take a more aggressive angle, but the Ana just provides so much playmaking potential if you kind of build your team around the Ana and let her live. So now let's go ahead and see a fight where Avalon takes it and uses their superior team coordination to their advantage to just leverage the point.
Yeah, and you can already predict that the Sim TP is going to be team coordination. You can see that they've already outmaneuvered Phoenix here, and they really just have a superior advantage on the point, which allows them to play as if they were the defenders and not the attackers. And that already provides them with a massive advantage, because forcing Phoenix to come to them is going to be a big boon to them when it comes to mid, especially mid fights, and when they're going to farm. I mean, they're not really close to any ults yet, but when Avalon is going to focus on this counter dive, when the monkey tries to dive in, they're going to have a really good position and be able to counter the dives easily.
Of course. Yeah. Go ahead. The biggest thing this team comp is relying on is they just really want to set their Reaper up to hold that high ground and make it so Avalon cannot push past it. So the Sim TP just completely counters that, goes past, catches Feather in a bad position, and it just makes it completely shift the tempo in favor of Avalon here. It's perfectly placed.
100% agree, and now we'll see all these close range characters have to either use resources or a lot of time to try and move back to the point, either with their supports or trying to maybe make an angle for the Ana.
You can see already they just capitalize with this positioning. Monkey can't really do much when he dives in. And he dies.
This really displays the tempo, I feel, for Avalanche. It's just winning them this game single-handedly. You see, they just instantly recognize their speed on the brig, catch them really, really early with the slow from the Ramatra too. It's just perfectly played from Avalon that fight. Really nothing that Feather can do outside of being in a different position.
Yeah, I just feel like over the course of the rest of the match, I hope that we can see Phoenix kind of adjust to this high tempo play style by either having their supports play more aggressively and trying to get early value rather than waiting until kind of the fight's already decided by giving point control or giving control of important space. And instead, if they try to go really fast and punish their lack of immediate power because they have the sim, and instead we have a Winston which gets so much value from Bubble and an Ana which gets so much value from Nade, can they leverage that before Avalon is able to take these fast fights and just punish immediately whoever they see?
Just very dominant.
Yep,
That's especially with some map.
Yeah, so I think that's it for the halftime show. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and kick it back to the casters, and thank you for watching.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
When we were 15.
Hello, welcome back from the halftime break. I hope everybody took notes. I hope everybody was very studious. A lot of to the newborn eye, maybe some of those fights looked like, oh my goodness gracious, Avalon is just crushing it. Every single fight just goes his way. But there was actually some brain behind the puzzle there. Karma, how was your half?
It's good. I'm watching the NFL draft right now. Like I said before, the Packers are currently on the clock. I'm hearing that we might have traded back to the Jets again, even though we just traded with the Jets. It's a whole thing, and I don't want to bore you guys with it because we got some Overwatch to watch. Of course, 2-0 headed to Avalon. Break it down during halftime. I, of course, wasn't able to watch it because it was muted on our end. But, of course, good breakdown. I trust them. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about more than I do, in my opinion. I'm just here to just spew and just have some fun.
Yeah, a fantastic halftime. Absolutely, freaking awesome. I get to look forward to something to look at the VOD for, study up, and I mean we're gonna see how Rialto goes, which is a very like streamlined kind of map. Love Rialto overall, but how do you think it kind of variates from second point or after you get the payload from Eichenwald?
It's especially with Rialto, it's very different because you do have that bridge. That bridge is one of the, in my opinion, one of the most hardest places to break through because you do have Lucius going for boops. No shot lost. No, we're not seeing it. Thank you. Okay, good. No, Zasper, no. We're not seeing Lifeweaver today. Lifeweaver is bad. Thank you.
You got double baited.
I got double baited. Oh wait, no, that's the actual trade. Never mind. I'm looking at NFL talk. But no, I think it's going to be very interesting, especially because Avalon is running the Symmetra again. It's going to be very difficult. Phoenix going back to that monkey comp that we saw before. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be tough for the side of Phoenix to be able to hold this. Of course, like I said before, you got two bridges. You got the first bridge and you got the second bridge. Both are very difficult to go past, but we do see it coming down. 3, 2, 1. Avalon on defense. Here we go.
Yeah, let's see how Crack-a-lax. I mean, it's gonna Avalon. It's Dolphin because the sim that's gonna be your win condition. I think Rialto, it's a bit more spaced out. It's a bit more up in the air for it's a more balanced of a map, I'd say. Looks like the TP is gonna be on the high ground, a bit of a danger for the side of Phoenix. You don't really have a lot of longer range characters, but you definitely do want to have some sort of control. And it looks like they're gonna be opting for high ground control. But it looks like Vic is gonna be going down. But you do have Mercy on as your support line. You're not necessarily out of this fight just yet. You're kind of just getting this payload kind of progress. Max just kind of chilling around, under some sort of pressure by the name of Colossus right there, but now maybe a little out of position. Maybe there's some advantage for the rest of Phoenix to take, but it looks like Avalon very, very sturdy, very organized, looking like a sandcastle in this beautiful Italy. Don't know how far that goes, but it looks like nobody's really fallen down yet, and it's been a minute. Looks like now fantastic anti-nade coming out, does force out Immortality Field. Nobody falling yet, but a lot of pressure is on, and now the high ground is claimed. for the side of Phoenix, and now you don't necessarily have those long range characters, but now you're just getting a really good bird's eye view of who you want to dive onto. It looks like Jasper is going to be knocked out of the fight right there. Fantastic coordination. Max picking up 2 right there. Zibdol's out, and it looks like the rest of the fight is going to be going Phoenix's way. That was Max picking up 3 right there. That was very that was very educated from Phoenix. It looks like they took that halftime break also to heart there.
Yeah, and it was really good too, especially being able to take that high ground, being able to sort of overlook, like you saw before, like you said, being able to overlook and just sort of see where they wanted to go. Zibdo got very low, being able to bait out that the immortality field, and then just Jasper dying right away anyways. And Max is going really far into their backline, but maybe able to get one more, maybe, hopefully.
Oh, I think that's actually to make it so that way they can't sit up. Even though they necessarily didn't get too much value and you lost some mercy there, I think they're trying to stop Avalon from setting up, which is a huge step forward. Now it looks like Sisbo picking up 1 on the Lucio, picks up 2, and now the rest of the picks are going Phoenix's way. This is a fantastic turn of events. Some aggression from Max paying out huge, and now an Nanoblade coming out to really just try and clean this up. They know Avalon can come back in the nick of time at any time, and they really want to stop that there. Vic picking up Jasper there. No Baptiste, no Mortality Field. Lost House does get a beat and a pick of their own. The Beast is knocked out, but Feather is still mercy on the side of Phoenix. Now Rez is up back that support now. Oh my goodness gracious, this beauty in motion coming out from the side of Phoenix right there. But now Jasper is switching out to that Kiriko in the nick of time. Zibdo picks up 2 there, but the cart is gotten for Phoenix. Jasper jumps off the edge and they've got to reset. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was really good from the side of Phoenix. I thought they might have gone a little bit too far using the Blossom, using sort of your Winston went a little bit too deep, but at the same time they were able to hold it. They were able to turn it fairly well. Using the Nanoblade to try to confirm it, they basically sort of did. They had to pop, Colossus had to pop their Annihilation, which is one of those ultimates, especially during overtime, where it's very difficult to sort of hold onto a point, because you're on the point, hey, you're getting damaged no matter what, as Max dies completely and gets deleted from the side of Dolphin.
Yeah, the Colossus grip is different. Lost Sauce moves 20 to Vic. Dolphinicus picks up 2 right there. The turret MVP of the day. It's just picks out Zibdol, but it's going to be going the way of Avalon here. You've got 3 minutes though, not looking too bad, but now this is a situation where it's kind of iffy. Avalon have defense and they're able to have time to set up. It's going to be interesting to see how Phoenix plays around it. They do have Blossom, and Lost House doesn't have a beat at that. Avalon have no support ultimates, so maybe not out of this just yet, but the high ground is got for the side of Avalon.
Yeah, and this is going to be very difficult for the side of Phoenix to be able to just sort of, because especially with this high ground, you're just sort of able to poke and not really be able to take it. Phoenix is trying to get around this first corner, which in my opinion is very good, especially if you're actually able to do it. But the side of Avalon, they know like they want this corner, so we're going to hold it even harder than you can.
Oh man, that's scary stuff. Look at that fully, basically fully charged Simbeam. Now they have the high ground TP as well. Sip denies it. 2K, both DPS out. Avalon are going to be looking for picks here. Zasper finds a nice little headshot to Vic, but it looks like Sip taking it away with the 3K. A nice little sleep onto the Lucio right there, and a res to get them all 5 members back up. Oh man, Feather with a nice little knockout onto Lost Sauce right there. That's going to leave a mark. And now you've got 2 minutes, and the future is looking bright.
Yeah, and that was a really good way to break it too, using only really 1 ultimate there. I think they might have used Valve, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But even then, really using the Reaper ult there to try to just basically get everybody back. And now Avalon is coming back with 4 out of their 5 ultimates as Lost dies immediately. But they do have the Nanoblade coming out. But Zibdo finds 2. Dolphin finds Vic with the Sim turret, and now it's all Avalon turning it immediately. Zibdo finds another one, and it's a team kill outside of Avalon.
Darn, the 3K. I was going to go like, oh, the Beast dunked on him to start the fight yet again with the nade, but Zibdol coming in clean, and now the high ground is got again, but they used 3 ultimates right there. They do have both support ultimates, but Phoenix maybe opting to use this Max Primal a little aggressively rather than defensively. But speaking of offensively, Zasper with a window to really buy some time, some may say. But I mean, there is a minute left, so maybe it's a little useful right there. But I'd say it's a little rather quirky.
I mean, it's fairly useful, especially with there being a minute, as Max just gets deleted and is forced to use his Primal. Which could get one, could get Zibdol. Zibdol's a little bit out, forcing out the beat, so it's gonna be fairly difficult for the side of Avalon to try to hold it with no ultimate. Max very close, but never mind if Avalon just decides to turn it immediately with that beat. But yeah, like I was going to say before they decided to do all that, the amplification mixtures there I feel like is very good, especially if they're able to hold on to it. I feel like they were trying to get it so there was one more fight. They tried to fight at 30 rather than 45 seconds. So that way that was the last fight. But now now Phoenix has one more fight. They only have the Valk for the side of Feather. They're close-ish to the Reaper ulti. the side of Avalon, they only really have two, which is Dolphin's Wall and Zibdol's High Noon.
Yeah, looks like they're going to be pressing a Valak into this high ground quarters with all that kind of healing and damage amplification. You are able to do a lot of fantastic group kind of control. Looks like they did take the high ground, but it looks like Colossus dropping down, punching one into Vic right there. It does kind of make this a bit of a scary situation. Colossus picking up 2 right there, and yeah, I was calling out that that amplification matrix. Maybe Phoenix could take advantage of it right there, but they couldn't, and I think that's really what weighed into here. That time bank dwindling down. You didn't have enough time to build up the DPS ultimates for Phoenix. You couldn't get another Nano Blade. Sisp, as you can see, 2% off from a Blossom, but Avalon played that pretty well. It looks like high ground was definitely the name of the game, even from the first point.
Yeah, it really was, especially since Rialto is known for the second point being very difficult. You do have that very long bridge with not a lot of cover, and then you get to around the corner where there's a lot of high ground, where there's cover for them but not for you. So it's a very open map, even though it doesn't really seem like it all that much with the big, I don't know if it's a hotel or what it really is, but it's a big museum thing that's right in the middle of it. So it's very difficult to be able to get around that second corner. That's why you need a lot of momentum coming around that second point. But since they didn't really have it, they sort of got stuck. And now Phoenix is on the defense, trying out the brawl, which I think could be very good, especially since Avalon has been proving, hey, we want to run the brawl. That's our favorite point. We love the brawl. We're running the brawl 24/7. Dolphin is maybe a sim main. Who knows? But
who knows?
I mean, it's true. I think Dolphin has played so far 100% sim, so it's very interesting to see, especially since they know how to play around it too. It's not just one of those like, hey, we're gonna play sim on every map, but we're not really gonna play around it. They're playing with it really well because of how they're able to TP in, bait TPs, beat TPs out, get the sim turret set up in different locations so it's not being broken. But now on the side of Phoenix, they're trying to run the sim as well. They're probably, I feel like, I'm gonna bet and say they're going to play it and then they're gonna switch off within a minute to the monkey comp.
Well, we'll see how it goes. It's gonna be a bit, maybe on defense they'll have a bit more flair to it. I believe Dolphinicus is a sim main. Well, I was gonna say one trick, but you know they made him. I think. Oh my God. Yeah, this is definitely just going for the ego diff right there. And you know what? When it comes down to it, that's definitely something worth giving a shot. It looks like Dolphinicus trying to go for that high ground kind of play. The TP is out. Maybe I dare say a little bit early, but it looks like it's doing fantastic value. Phoenix forced off of that. Looks like again, no real. They do have Zibdol on the Cabal, you know. So it looks like the Immortality field is going to be forced out. That front line is very dangerous. Phoenix has that Mei, so they try to use the wall a bit early. Colossus tries to take advantage of it right there and falls down very low to the point of getting picked. But now it's going to be kind of a 4v4 scenario here. Zibdol picking up the slack. Colossus again striking as the illusion of this team. Dolphinicus revealing himself to be the true kind of puppeteer of so to say.
Yeah, that was great.
Really quickly. That bush, you know that statue with the 4 bushes, dude. There used to be trees. I knew there was something missing. There used to,
Yes, it used to be trees. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because there used to be trees, and that was driving me insane for so long that I couldn't.
I know you're right.
But Zibdol overextends a little bit, but yeah, it just looks like Max is trying to hold this. They do the wall, so it might be a little bit difficult for the side of Phoenix to be able to fight this. Baiting at the wall, Dapper finds one, Lost Sauce finds another, and it just looks like it's all blue in the kill feed no matter what. Lost Sauce and Dapper finding one. The support backline, who said we needed support? We can do damage ourselves, as they find 3 out of the 4 kills right there. But yeah, like I was going to say beforehand, but when they won the first fight, that was very good on them baiting utility. They used the lamp the side of Phoenix, they used the lamp very early. Then they used the wall very early, and they sort of played passive. And then Colossus was like, okay, cool, both these are down, I'm going to go aggro. Yes, he ended up dying, but at the same time, they ended up winning the fight because it's sort of like a positive negative. I don't know if that really makes sense, but you were able to bait out that utility for the side of Phoenix and just sort of roll them at the end.
Yeah, some smart stuff from that, and that's exactly what you're gonna need if you're gonna continue ego diffing Dolphin right now. And in the end, Max does knock one out, and now Feather with the beat and the barrier. Yeah, this is looking a very health pool encouraging fight from Phoenix right now, and looks like the picks are gonna be going their way. Overall, per se, a lot of the fights have been going Avalon's way, but the fights that Phoenix do win are very, very clean. They're very crisp. They walk in. It's not like a big war back and forth, so to speak. It's very one-sided. But now it's gonna be interesting to see, considering. I mean, oh, actually, you know what? Phoenix have 2 little fancy ultimates.
Yeah, they do. They do have the Shatter. They do have the Mei ult. As hopefully that Colossus doesn't get their Max doesn't get their Shatter block.
That's my bad.
Avalon already finds 2. with Dolphus and Zibble, but Vic finds another one, trying to hold on to it. They do a freeze and kind of run around. No way. No way Avalon's winning this, right? There's just one alive.
No way.
It's just a Vic. Vic dies, and now they have 2 fights to be able to hold this. They might try to touch with Feather. Feather's going to be close. But the side of Avalon, they have Noon. That's all they really have, and if they're able to turn this fight with Phoenix having both their ults, if they use them both at the same time, this map is lost for Phoenix, in my opinion. They need to use them both separately and try to hold on to them as long as they can.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Was that a TP shatter? It was.
But it got blocked. I don't think it hit a single person.
It was based in it of itself. Colossus, oh man, yeah, Colossus heard that and went nuts. He picked up 2 right there. Oh man, Max is trying to make this quite the run for the money right now. Some nice sim gameplay coming out from both sides there. I really don't necessarily get to say that often, but it looks like Avalon will be taking this 3-0. That was some fancy stuff.
When I said don't use them both at the same time. You still need to use both. Vic didn't use the May freeze, which of course they died fairly early, but it was an interesting play. I gotta add that to it. Max being able to try to get the TP shatter, but I don't think they hit a single person. We need to, if we can look back at that, that would be great. But at the same time, if you're doing it, you need to try to hit somebody, and I don't think they did. It just looks like that. Phoenix was like, "Hey, Brawl is working for Avalon. Let's try to run it." We had some success with it. And Avalon just looks like they've been scrimming it. They're like, okay, cool. You guys want to run Brawl? Well, guess what? We don't care. We're just going to keep on just foot on the gas and just rolling over you, apparently.
That's the thing. That's the thing about, like, comfort, right? Like, Avalon, yeah, they look like they're running this Brawl really well. It's all about the Brawl. It's really about, you know, which characters they're really comfortable on. And I think Phoenix is trying to copy that with something, maybe, I'm not saying they're not comfortable with what they ran, but it looks like Avalon was just more comfortable. And it looks like, yeah, with kind of a 3-0 here, it looks like Avalon maybe taking that series. But I think Phoenix, I think now that you maybe stress is alleviated from that, maybe you're not trying to be like, oh, meta this, meta that, because, you know. But I think heading to this next one, it's going to be push. So I think on Oasis, the only issue on Oasis being a control was just the kind of map. I think it was really going Symmetra's way. I think the choke points were really working in Avalon's favor. So I think with push being super symmetrical, if there's any map to do it on, Rialto I would say was one, but then things kind of went differently. I think Phoenix definitely have a good shot at getting this one.
Yeah, and of course, looking in our production chat, with Coliseo is the push map, which, in my opinion, out of the 3 push maps, why would you decide to pick Coliseo? Coliseo is the one that you run Brawl on no matter what, in my opinion. You looked okay on the Monkey comp. I feel like if you want to try to run it a little bit, you can run that. But now you're going straight into Avalon's wheelhouse. Avalon is going to run the Brawl. You're probably going to try to run the Brawl too, but I feel like it's just going to be Avalon just sort of being like, okay, cool, we're just going to press the gas no matter what. I feel like if you really wanted to try the Monkey comp again, you might try to play Esperanza. But at the same time, again, I'm not in the Discord call. I just sort of speculate. But I feel like if you run Coliseo, you're going to try to run the Brawl. And I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that and we just see Avalon just take this, maybe cap it at the end.
We'll have to see how that goes. We'll have to see if Phoenix have something to say. And if they're going for, they went for Coliseo, which already screams ego, and last map screamed ego as well. I'm all for it. Also, you pointed out sports earlier. My window has a nice view of the top of the Twin Stadium, and earlier it was flashbanging. So I don't know if the baseball is going on right now, but that is something.
Yes, I believe the Twins are currently playing. I can pull up their score, but I really don't care because I'm not a Twins fan personally.
Damn.
But yeah, no, I'm a Cubs fan, so I had to suffer for so long, but whatever. But yeah, Coliseo is good for push. I think Coliseo was the first push map,
I believe,
sort of announced / shown.
Or New Queen Street.
It was either that or New Queen Street. I believe it was Coliseo first because we saw that in the direct in the dev thing, and we just saw a bunch of pro players making fun of the devs because they were golds. And I just remember that. But very beautiful map. Rome is very beautiful in itself. I wish to go to it one day, but
I wish Rome was real.
Yeah. We just got a score update from the Twins. Twins are up 7-1, which is insane in my opinion. They scored a touchdown.
I'm in I'm in Minnesota, so let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, Twins.
Speaking of baseball, speaking of ball,
thank
Colossus was on it, but oh man, all right, it is gonna be the ego duel of the century, and I am all for it, Phoenix. All right, and Vic on the Reaper, that's seeing that kind of frontline synergy. Zasper on the May, maybe a little bit of a wrench thrown into the mix here, but we'll have to see how it kind of pans out for either side, because I don't think necessarily Phoenix is expecting a May, because we haven't necessarily seen it too often, but looks like the wall is going to come out already. Max falling dangerously low, but the support is there, and now the Immortality kind of forced out. Looks like, oh man, Lilac picking that up, eating that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Baptiste out, and now the rest of the follow-up is there. It looks like definitely it's going to be kind of based around this kind of Ryan head-to-head. Colossus, a very dominant tank player all around, so it looks like, yeah, if we're going to talk ego, it's definitely going to come down to like how the tanks are going to feel each other out, and then how that kind of reflects into the rest of the kind of ability of what everyone else can do. But so far, lead is in the way for Avalon.
Yeah, Avalon, I feel like they're going to be playing this a lot better. I feel like Vic on the Reaper, Reaper's okay in some instances. I feel like in Brawl it's a lot different because you're shooting a shield more than likely. I feel like you like the capacity there, especially with that sort of heal as the side of Phoenix decides to push in, but Colossus is just pressing shift into the team. Lost Sauce finds one, gets through three, they're all falling. Phoenix is dead. They're dying. They're currently dying. Dolphin finds three more. But yeah, okay. Avalon has three ultimates. Phoenix doesn't even have a single one up. They're already getting the checkpoint, I feel like.
Phoenix cosplaying Rome falling apart there in perfect fashion. And I mean, you're coming up on 80% to a shatter, but Avalon, yeah, as you mentioned before, they're just getting so much value if they have three ults of their own. Phoenix have this high ground, Colossus walking up to it and smacks nothing, but that's okay. You have some other ults to play with. Maybe it's not okay. Lilac gets picked out, Colossus does trade it out. It's gonna be a bit of a 4v4, but oh my goodness, Max! Oh goodness! That's a somewhat of an MTD right there. And yeah. Dolphinicus diffing Sisp. Oh no.
Yeah, like I said before, Dolphin is Dolphin a sim main? Can we get a check on that? Can we get a check on that on their sim hours? Because they're just rolling. They're rolling. I think Dolphin has the most kills out of everybody, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Lost Sauce has the beat, which they don't even need anymore because they use both window and shatter. They're coming up with the wall, which okay, cool. It's a giant shield. Who cares? And they're not even close to Blossom, so they don't really need it for right now. As Zasper gets the freeze off and is just trying to put the death note onto Phoenix.
Oh god, the death note and the beat. That beat was literally just a flex on them. They're like, yeah, you guys are losing the fight already, but look at how much HP we all have while we're doing it. Ayo. And now I believe that's another team kill. Maybe I don't have as many fingers to count as many team kills as there have been in this entire series, but it's not over just yet. It's 7 minutes to go. The meter is just reaching 100, but both DPS ults are had for Phoenix, and no ultimates are had for Avalon. I don't want to jinx it or anything like that, but it looks like Phoenix is pressing the aggression, putting the pedal to the metal. The barrier is out, the beat is out, the defenses are up, so no one can really fall, hopefully. Now it looks like, yeah, the rest of the people for Avalon are going to be falling. Looks like a nice little... it's interesting to see how Phoenix attacked that. They attacked that with defense.
Yeah, that was really good too, using the sim wall there, being able to just sort of block it off. You don't really see a lot of it just being like, hey, we're going to take the space. Simwall is very one of those things where it's like you could be used so many different ways. It's very interesting. We did get confirmation that Dolphin is a sim OTP.
Yep,
so we know that. We know that. But now Max has Shatter, Vic has Blossoms. Let's see if something big can happen here.
Yeah, Vic goes for it. Looks like does punch out, shoot out Lilac right there to be pretty blunt. And the Immortality field looks like, yeah, I really do have to hand it to them. Yes, it's 3-0. Yes, it's 110 meters to like 3. But Phoenix, every single time from map 1, anytime they've won a fight, it's looked pretty clean. Like you could put that on a nail and chalkboard or whatever. So, I mean, we'll have to see how this kind of tank matchup goes now, considering it's going to be a Shatter v Pit Shatter, as well as Dolphin having the barrier, as well as Zasper coming up on a May ult. So we'll have to see. We'll have to hold our breaths.
Yeah, 3-2 here. I think her ultimate. If Dolphin blocks the Shatter, I'm going to play the game.
Hey, it looks like Max blocked it, and then try to go for a reversal right there. I mean, hey, you walk away happy with the block right there, yeah. But it looks like the support is going to be come out. It looks like it's a 5v4, 4v3 scenario, 4v2 scenario. It's not looking too good for Phoenix right there. But I mean, hey, you blocked that Shatter.
Yeah, you got Shatter out. So both ultimates. Yeah, 2 ultimates out from both sides. Max and both of them use Shatter window. sort of an even fight. Of course, Phoenix did end up losing it because I think Colossus got one more than Max did, or no, it got blocked. So never mind, I'm talking dumb. But yeah, no, Colossus was just able to just swing on everybody, even though they did use their shatter. They're already up to 40%. As Max is taking control of this high ground here and being able to stop it, which I feel like, in my opinion, is a very dumb spot to do successful.
Well, I mean, when in Rome. And it looks like the berry came out, but it looks like the May oh man, the May Blizzard totally just countered whatever Sis was trying to throw down with her, which is just tough. Lilac picking up 2 right there. Oh, by the way, this entire time Avalon has been, the supports have been getting kills this entire time, like at least 1 in every fight. Just so you know, in case you haven't noticed, I just wanted to give some props. But no ultimates really for Phoenix. I mean, you're coming up 70% to Blossom. They're kind of approaching your spawn area. Things are getting a little bit tense here, but now the beat is going to come out, the aggression, pushing a lot of these fights with defensive ults for both of these teams, really. Yeah, nice stuff. Zasper picking out Sis right there. Colossus picking up 2 yet again for the umpteenth time, picks up 3. A nice little fire strike on the feather might be closing this one out.
Yeah, and even then, Lost Sauce used the Colossus shatter this one.
Let's go. Hey, let's go. That's a 4-0, and you know what? It was clean. I'm not afraid to say that was a clean 4-0. Phoenix, much respect, because they egoed it, and when they ego it, that's what Overwatch is all about, baby. 4-0, GG, you got clapped, and you know what? Go again.
Yeah, and Dolphin getting play of the game here. It just seemed like a matter of time. I don't think they got play of the game once, but they finally get it on the last map. 4-0 for the side of Avalon. But yeah, this just looked like a stomp. I feel bad saying that for the side of Phoenix, but Avalon just looked like they were just head and shoulders above with the brawl comp, brawl/rush. I think it's more of a rush comp technically, I believe now. I don't really know, but it's one of those things that they just looked well versed on it. They have a sim OTP, so they know how to play sim. It's not somebody that's like, hey, I know how to play sim and I play it once every 3 years. Like they actually know how to play sim. Well, I mean, like, they know how to play sim and they know how to utilize their utility, because of course it's a lot difficult than playing it just in one more thing, but it's insane.
They were really good TPs.
They're a really good team. Avalon, well deserved. You deserve your flowers heading into playoffs. Coming off again, like we said at the start of this, both these teams went to a map 5 last week, and they're both very similar. But now we see it and we're like, okay, yeah, Avalon deserved it. I think we had all the Preds was like a 4-0, maybe a 3-1 on the side of Avalon. But and again, they deserve it. Like we said, like we were here Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday, 4-0. Today, 4-0. Let's go. 2 4-0s in the same week.
Let go.
Who can provide better content?
No, bringing up the predictions is so funny because like none of them necessarily predict. I mean, I believe if I have to double check, I believe at least nerfed walking away with a dub here. But I think okay, that was nice. Now I think the next time Avalon get a 4-0, I think if a team goes as far as Phoenix did to try and stop Avalon at their core, at their theme, I think whoever takes Phoenix's place next time, if that does occur, they gotta buy Dolphinicus a Symmetra body pillow, dude, because holy smokes, that was crazy. But who is your MVP?
Like I said before, if they block Shatter, they're gonna get it. I'm gonna give it to them anyway. It's going to be Dolphin. Colossus, I'm gonna shout out Colossus too. Colossus did just play amazingly. They MTD'd Max. I feel bad saying it to Max because I feel like Max had a really good game themselves. But at the end of the day, Dolphin was just head and shoulders the best player, I feel like, on that team. Providing that pressure with the Sim OTP is very difficult, especially in some certain comps. But they were just playing it to perfection, in my opinion. They weren't playing it very one-dimensionally. Like, we see a lot of Sims play it very one-dimensionally, just TPing into the back line, TPing their turrets around. They were letting their turrets around. They were just sort of TPing around, TPing their team around. You could see them in the back line every once in a while, but at the end of the day, they were playing to provide pressure so that way the rest of their team could just pop off. And I feel like that's the best way to play Sim. And at the end of the day, that's who I'm giving it to. Who are you giving it to? Because I want to see if we're different.
I'm giving it to Colossus. You said everything that ever could be said about Dolphin. Colossus, it got so much value. I was saying over and over, like he's the illusion, because the real treasure, is But Colossus, even if he was a mere illusion, even if he was a mere mirage, that mirage sure packed some damage. Sure was a presence on that front line. Didn't matter if it was on Ramacha, on Reinhardt. They're both characters that start with R, and they're both basically the same in this guy's hands. It's absolutely insane. just totally gotta give it to him. And obviously, like the whole team of Avalon looking really sturdy. Both these teams were 5-2. It looked like Avalon were undefeated. So overall, just a GG all around. Do you have any closing closers or anything like that?
No, playoffs again next week. We're gonna be hyped. Yeah, playoffs next week. We're gonna start it up. I don't really have anything else to say. For the side of Laggy and Cry in the background, we have McMissile to my right, left. Can't count. I'm Karma. We'll see you next week.